Okay, thank you very much. So, as I said, this is an information about Interreg Europe second call, and today we have with us Mr. Carmel Vella, the national contact point, and Miss Ilaria Ramagnolo, who will be giving their presentations throughout the session. Just as some housekeeping rules, if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat box. Please avoid any project-specific questions. In that case, we'll provide you with the emails of our speakers today, and then you can email them there, and there you can discuss with them in more detail your project. Over here, please let us try to stay as much as possible with the content of our presentations. We'll have a number of Q&A sessions as we're going along. So at that point in time, we'll first go through the questions that are in the chat box, and then we can move along to any questions that you might have. Please feel free to raise your hand. So just as some background regarding today's session, during the 2014 and 2020 program for Interreg Europe, there were around 258 projects that have been selected, of which 17 included Maltese partners, that is around 7%. And moreover, under the first call for proposals of the 2021-2027 program, 2 projects involving 1 leader, 1 project partner, and 1 associated policy partner have been approved for funding. I would like to also give a special thanks to Miss Ilaria Romagnolo, who will be our first speaker today, a policy officer within the Programme Joint Secretariat, who was available to join us today and who accepted also to participate in this session. So before I give the floor to Ilaria, again, these are the rules, some just to follow along, just to make sure we don't have any issues. Please keep your microphones off and your cameras on. You can ask any questions in the chat, and you can contact us on info.sem@gov.md to discuss specific projects. I will give the emails of our speakers later on. Okay, I will stop sharing from my end now. Ilaria, are you okay to share from your end?
Sure, I'm going to share the screen.
Okay.
Good afternoon, first of all, also from my side. I'm really glad to be here today, and I would like to thank you also Servizi Europei Malta and the government of Malta for having organized this event and gave us the opportunity to present the program and the second call. So I would like to start by presenting some key program feature. So maybe you are already familiar with Interreg Europe, maybe you already participate in our program. But for those who is the first time that they hear about this program, I think it's important to start from the basics. So I would like to give you some introduction. I'm going to open now the presentation. Voila. I hope you can see it. I'm putting in the, okay. So let's start from the beginning. What is Interreg Europe? So we are part of the European Territorial Cooperation. We are part of, we are one of those Interreg programs. You can see that there are many, more than 100, but specifically Interreg Europe is part of Strand C, the interregional cooperation, together with Urbact, Interact, ESPON. So just to give you a bit of context where we are. Regarding the program, let's see a bit key figures. So the budget, the total program budget is around 400 million. We have 6 topics. So while the program opts for one cross-cutting priority on capacity building, the actions of the program are organized around the policy objectives that fall under the cohesion policy. So you can see here those topics, but we will talk about those topics later in the next presentation. We are also the only pan-European program because we cover the entire European Union countries, so the 27 European Union members, in addition, together with the 2 associated countries, Norway and Switzerland. Regarding our rationale, our objective, the program is aiming to help local, regional, national authorities to prepare, to elaborate and deliver better policies. So we bring policymakers together and we create an environment for sharing experiences and solutions. So how we achieve this strategic objective is by supporting the exchange of experience and capacity building activities. This learning process involves the identification, analysis, and transfer of good practices. So this is the focus of our projects. So we are not, let's say, an investment or research program, but we focus on the networking and on the supporting the exchange of experience activities. So these are the elements that make us different from other Interreg programs. I would like to start with some key concepts. You will see that we will repeat those notions, those concepts many times throughout the presentation because they are very important, are the basic for our program, and you will work on this if you will decide to apply to our call or to get involved in our program. So what is a policy instrument? So this is the first key concept, key word for us. Our projects, they need to identify at the start of their project application, when preparing the application, they need to identify a policy instrument and work on this. So a policy instrument, it's a means of public for public intervention, which is developed by public authorities to solve a specific territorial situation. So this concept is quite open and flexible in the sense that we mean any strategy, any law, any program that is prepared by public authorities and applied in a specific territory. So could be any policy, any plan, strategy at local level, but also at regional or national level. Of course, for us, it's very important the focus on structural funds. So we are also aiming to improve the implementation, the elaboration of investment for jobs and growth goal programs. And there is also a requirement for our project to at least select among the different policy instruments also this type of policy. Let's see also another key concept, a key word related to policy instrument is policy responsible authority. I already mentioned that we are, due to our rationale, we primarily target policymakers because we want to improve regional development policy. So we need those organizations that are involved in the elaboration and delivery implementation of those policies. So these are the policy responsible authority. Most of the cases are public authority, public institution. And here I included an example from a Maltese partner that was involved in the previous programming period in this project intensive, which was focused on innovation in the health sector. And in this case, just to give you an example of what is a policy instrument. So in this case, the partner was the Ministry for Gozo, which is the policy responsible authority, and they selected as policy instrument the EcoGozo, a vision for an eco-island strategy. So during the project implementation, they were working on this. And this is an example, for instance, of policy instrument. You can, of course, find more example in our program website. According to our program, interregional cooperation can influence policy instrument in various ways. So based on previous experience from our previous programming period, policy improvement, can be categorized in 3 main types. So I would like already to introduce another important concept, which is about policy improvement. So our projects manage to improve a specific policy, for instance, by financing approving new activities, so new project, but also by revising the way a specific policy is managed. So in this case, we are talking about changing the governance of a specific policy, or changing the content of the policy itself. So by revising, by introducing, for instance, new measures, new objectives in the strategy or in the plan. So here again, I included an example from a Maltese partner, the same as the previous one. So we are talking about the Eco-Gozo strategy. So the Ministry for Gozo worked within the strategy process revision and include some new initiative that were not foreseen before, related to e-health and e-care technology, thanks to the exchange of experience process. So thanks to the good practices that they learn during the project activities, in this case, for instance, from the Finnish partner, I mentioned some example, and then they revise this strategy by including in the implementation plan new activities to be supported and be financed. Another example, for instance, in this case, is about Design for Innovation project, where Valletta Design Cluster was involved as a partner. We are talking about projects that were implemented during the previous programming period, 2014-2020. In this case, Valletta Design Cluster work on the operational program. So these are the type of investment for growth and jobs program. And they, thanks to their participation in our interregional cooperation project, they got some inspiration from other partners during the study visits, for instance, to creative hubs in Flanders, but also in Cardiff, in Thessaloniki and Riga. And thanks to all this knowledge, all this inspiration, they managed to shape their initiative, which was the Valletta Design Cluster. So, and they managed to apply for funding for the operational program. They got some funding from the RDF, and then they approve new activities, a new project that could be implemented within the cluster initiative. So these are some examples to give you already an idea about our projects. Then talking about the key program feature, let's see concretely how we are going, we aim to achieve this objective of improving better policy. So there are 2 paths. The program is supporting 2 actions. On one side, we have the interregional cooperation projects that I was already giving some example, and we will talk about this later on, because indeed the focus of today is to talk about the second call for proposal. And then we have also the second action, the second pillar of the program, which is the policy learning platform. So this initiative, I would like to give you some information about this initiative before zooming into the interregional cooperation projects. So the platform, this initiative was launched by the program to let's say, open up the benefits of the cooperation to give capacity building opportunities also to those organizations that are not necessarily involved in interregional cooperation projects, but also to capitalize all the knowledge coming from our projects, all the ideas, the solutions, the results from our projects, and make all this knowledge available to a wider audience. So we do this by offering a set of services that allow our community members to access knowledge, as I was mentioning, relevant knowledge, but also to access to new contacts, to get in touch and meet new people, but also access to expertise and the support of our thematic expert. Indeed, the platform concretely is there is a web interface hosted in our program website to facilitate the exchange of knowledge and the networking. But behind this web page, there is a team of thematic international experts that they work in the topic supported by the program, and they offer those services. So I would like to give you some example briefly on some of the services supported by the platform. So as I was mentioning, the platform builds on the member on the community, on the people that are involved in our program. We have currently more than 7,000 people registered to our community, and our expert organize for them online and in-person thematic events, networking events, where you can indeed meet peers working on similar challenges, similar fields, and increase your contacts, but also get in touch with expert and also improve your skills and your knowledge. So just to give you an example, here it's an example of an event, a thematic workshop that was organized in November last year in Helsinki on digital innovation hubs. And also here some upcoming events, some are online because we also organize a webinar, so you can see the dates and the topic. And also we will organize a thematic workshop in Ghent on rethinking about local policy to have a more integrated approach. And I invite you to check in our website in the official event page about this event, and I hope to see you there at the end of May and beginning of June. There will be some panel discussion, workshop, and also study visits. Another service is about, as I was mentioning, to access to knowledge, to policy solutions. So our expert analyzed so far 258 projects that were running in the previous programming period. And the analysis, the result of this analysis can be found in the publication, in the thematic publication prepared by our expert, the policy brief, but also we built a database of good practices that are feature all the solutions and the tested experiences and solutions from our project, and not only, because it's open to all our community members. And currently we have more than 3,000 good practices published in our database. These are some examples already available, and you can use the link already included in the slide to discover other solutions, interesting, inspiring experiences. This also the policy brief that you can access in our Knowledge Hub. And all the recordings from our online events, from our webinars, are also available in the website, in our program website. And finally, the third type of service proposed by the platform is the expert support. So you can, as a community member, you can contact our expert for a specific regional development challenge, and they assess your request, and provide you the most suitable solution. So could be either via written feedback by providing some relevant links to publication, to good practices, or also to relevant experts or contacts, but also they can organize a peer review or matchmaking session where they bring selected peers from our community, and they analyze your territorial situation, your challenge, and provide you recommendations. The call to apply for a peer review, it's permanently open. You can find also the term of reference in our program website. So in case you are interested, I invite you to discover this service. And here again, another example to give you an idea. So for instance, in this case, the town of Korčula in Croatia, they apply for the peer review to discuss and get some recommendation idea on how to make, on how to improve their tourism strategy and how to make the island smarter. So they, our experts selected some peers from Norway, Estonia, and Finland. They met together for 2 days of meeting in Korčula and then discuss about all those challenges, and they provide you they provide some recommendation. So this is just an example. If there are no question, or if there are some questions we can already tackle about the program itself, otherwise we can move to the presentation on the project main feature. I'm looking in the chat, but I don't think there are questions. So I can.
Sorry, I was on mute. I was trying to speak.
Yes, sorry.
So at the moment, it doesn't seem that there are any questions in the chat box. However, if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hands, or else we can move on to the next section.
Okay, I think we can move. Yes, I'll put the presentation. Okay, can you see? Yes, I suppose you can see the presentation. So I introduce you the program rationale, the objective, the key elements, and now I would like to zoom in on the project, on the interregional cooperation project, and to talk a bit about the activities, also the partnership requirements, which are very important, and also to give you some insight about the project finances. So let's go back to the rationale, to the objective. I already mentioned that the scope of the program is to improve regional development policies. So the objective is to help the our local, national, regional authorities to deliver better policies. So this is again the objective of our interregional cooperation projects. And at the start of their activities, of their project, they need to identify a policy instrument. And as already mentioned, can be any local, regional, national public intervention, but also it's important to consider that you need to select at least one policy instrument that is an investment for jobs and growth goal program. So this is very important to know because it's a eligibility criterion, and only those programs, we are talking about operational programs at regional, national level, And only those programs that are included in the list prepared by the program that you can find in our website, but also in the European Commission website, because we are talking about those programs that are prepared, that are adopted by the European Commission at the beginning of the programming period, and they have been prepared by countries or regions. It depends on the level, and they are financed through RDF or ESF. So it's very important to keep in mind also this aspect. What our projects are doing, so we require our interregional cooperation projects to form a partnership with the region from different European areas. They identify a common challenge, a common issue, and they start to work and exchange on this challenge together by identifying good practices, experiences, and they then need to find to improve those policies. So on one hand, we have capacity building activities such as study visit, thematic workshop, peer reviews. So they organize this kind of activities to exchange knowledge and experiences. On the other hand, there is also possibility to implement more, let's say, learning by doing activities such as pilot actions already from the start of the project. For those who knows already the Interreg Europe program, this was something that was possible to do in the previous programming period only in the second phase. So now the member states decide to have this type of activity already from the start, so it's possible to request a pilot and to include it in the application form. Of course, there is a limit of one pilot action per policy instrument. I will give you some more information and some example on this as well. Another key element, a key concept that you already hear from my presentation is about the good practice. As I was mentioned, the learning process involves the identification, analysis, and transfer of good practices. But what is a good practice? What we mean with a good practice? So it's a policy-related initiative, could be a program, a project, a strategy, a plan, a specific measure that has been implemented by a public authority and has proved to be successful in a region. So it has proven tangible results. There are evidence of success, so it demonstrates that it works in this specific territory to solve a specific challenge, and so it's a potential source of inspiration for other regions. I give you here an example from again a Maltese case. So we had the Maltese Energy and Water Agency involved in a zero CO2 project, which was a project focused on energy efficiency in buildings. So in this case, they share the good practice. It's an initiative, a scheme that was established by this Maltese agency to boost renewable energy generation on the island, on a specific part of the island, the Rabat region. In this case, so they launched this solar photovoltaic scheme, and they converted the roof of this reservoir into a solar photovoltaic farm. So it's very technical, very specific, but this allows citizens to invest on this in case they were not able to invest in solar panel in their own property. So it's a very interesting and good practices. An example, and you can see some data from some evidence of regarding the implementation of this scheme. And for instance, one of the most interesting elements is that they managed to involve around 400 households to invest on those on this initiative. So this is just an example, in this case on energy efficiency topic. And I would like also to give you, just to also clarify, our project, they come the project partners, they come in our project with their experience on a specific challenge, on a specific topic, and they bring this into the partnership. And this is the case, for instance, of the Maltese agency. Regarding the pilot action, I would like to clarify that these are implementation-oriented activities. So it's about testing something to see if it's feasible, if could be successful to be implemented in a larger scale in a specific territory. So what is very important to keep in mind is the testing character. So we are talking about testing something on the ground, of course, in a small and limited scale. And there are certain conditions for a pilot to be approved in our project. Of course, considering the rationale of the program, pilots needs to clearly contribute to the policy improvements. So the scope or the objective of the pilot is also to improve a specific regional development policy. And of course, it needs to be clearly related to the interregional process. So either, let's say, just to give you an example, if you plan a pilot from the start of your project application, you either test something in several regions that from the partnership area. If it's only tested in one region, then you will need to involve another partner, for instance, like the donor, so the partner that is responsible for the practice, for the initiative that you are going to test, will help you to implement the pilot. So there is a need of having at least 2 participating countries involved in the pilot. And just to give you an example, from the previous programming period, this is a pilot implemented in the framework of Citizen project, which was on urban farming. And in this case, the municipality of Sofia was inspired by some activities, some experiences from the Greek, Spanish, and Portuguese partners, and they decide to test this do-it-yourself kit for vertical gardens. So they design this kit with the university, but also with students and the teachers from the University of Architecture. And they install those demo sites around the city for gardening, for planting herbs, spices, seed, vegetables, fruits. And they included this initiative. After the testing phase, they assess the results, the outcome from this initiative, and they include this initiative in the new Sofia Green program. So this is an example of pilot action. Let's go now on the implementation of the activities more concretely. Our projects, they are implementing the activities in 2 phases. So over 4 years in total. The duration is fixed by the program. We have the first phase, which is called core phase, is 3 years and is focused on the exchange of experience to achieve policy improvements, which is the scope of the program and our project. So they organize capacity building activities, as I was mentioning, for instance, study visits, thematic workshops, peer reviews. They exchange and they ultimately try to improve their specific policy by the end of the core phase. Then in the follow-up phase, which is 1 year, they monitor the effects of those policy improvements. So it's focused on the monitoring. Of course, it's important to know that the follow-up phase, it's flexible in the sense that it's up to the partner, to the project, to define the specific activities to consider in this follow-up phase, because it's still possible to have exchange of experience activities. For instance, you can still learn from the policy improvements achieved. So by monitoring those improvements, you can still learn from this. And another element very important to know is that if one of those partners region will not achieve any policy improvements by the end of the core phase, then they will need to prepare an action plan where they will list the action and the activities that they plan to implement in order to achieve a policy result. For those who were already involved or knows the program, this was a core requirement, the action plan for our project in the previous programming period, while now it's only for those regions that do not achieve any results by the end of the core phase. Let's now move to the partnership, which is an important element for our project. From a legal status point of view, those organizations are eligible, the organization that you see, this type of organization that you see in the slide, are eligible for funding to apply in our program. So we have public authorities, public law bodies, bodies governed by public law. This depends on the country, but for instance, in this category, you may find those intermediary organizations like agency, regional local agencies, but also business support organizations, for instance. And then also private non-profit bodies. In this case, could be, again, it depends on the country, could be Chamber of Commerce, interest groups. But yes, these are the three types of organization that can apply. Private for-profit cannot apply to our program, but they can be involved in the stakeholder group, which I will mention later on. From the, let's say, so we saw from a legal status point of view, regarding the role in the project, the role in the policy-making process, which is the core element for our project, due to our rationale, our core target group is the policy responsible authorities. So those organizations that are responsible for the elaboration, delivery, implementation of a specific policy. So they need to be involved, those type of organization, in our project as a partner for at least 50% of the policy instrument addressed in the project. So this is also an eligibility criterion. So it's very important to keep in mind, and this base is per policy instruments. For the remaining organizations, they can be involved, for the remaining, policy instrument, they can be involved as associated policy authority. In this case, the Associated Policy Authority is not a partner, does not have the status of a partner, but is officially included in the application form in the contact details part. It's part of the stakeholder group. So it's a member of the stakeholder group, but they need to provide a declaration. You will see among the documents to be provided when applying, there is a declaration from this type of authority that needs to be filled in to confirm their commitment to be involved in the project. They don't have a budget, but their travel and accommodation costs can be covered by the relevant project partner, and their involvement in the project will need to be monitored during the project implementation. As I was mentioning before also, our project needs to create a stakeholder group where they involve key relevant organizations related to the policy instruments they are addressing, but also regarding the challenge, the thematic topic that they are tackling during within the project. And this can help them to have higher chances to achieve a policy change. And those stakeholder group members are listed as well in the application form. They don't have also budget, but their travel and accommodation costs can be covered by the relevant partner as well, because they, of course, normally our project foreseen meetings with those organizations. They also involve them in the interregional exchange of experience activities. Then moving on from the partnership, we were talking about the role, now to see a bit the geographical coverage. As I was mentioning at the beginning, we are the only pan-European program. We cover all the European Union territories. So it's important for our project to go beyond the cross-border, transnational cooperation areas, so to have a very wide and broad coverage. And we will see then specifically when talking about the second call, what are the requirements in terms of geographical coverage. And also because we are part of the cohesion policy and we want to implement the scope, the objective of the cohesion policy, it's important to involve also partners with different level. So mix, to have a good mix between more and less advanced regions. And then to conclude this first part, I would like to give you some insight regarding the budget, the project finance. You may know that the program is not financing 100%, but we are having good co-financing rates because we are making use of the maximum allowed by the regulations. So for public or public equivalent bodies, they can get 80% from ERDF funds. So this means that they need to contribute with 20% from their own fund. And for private no-profit bodies, they can get a co-financing rate of 70%. Looking at the type of cost categories, I think it's important to give you an idea also of this kind of elements. So it might be interesting for you to know that we have, we foreseen preparation cost for with a lump sum of 70,000. Of course, this is for projects that will finally be approved. If approved, they will get this lump sum. This goes to the lead partner that they will distribute together with the rest of the partnership. Considering also our rationale, our objectives, we need to have the staff of the organization participating in the project involved in the activities. So a big part of the budget goes to staff cost. This is the big category. And you can see from the slide that we are applying some simplifications in this case, and we are using more and more lump sum or flat rates. So in this case, for instance, regarding the staff cost, it's still possible to report on real cost, but the method that will apply will be the same for everyone, and our project partners will need to establish, to estimate a percentage of the amount of time that they will be involved in the project activities, and this percentage will then be applied when reporting the real cost. Of course, this is very specific. We are talking about already reporting, but I wanted to give you an idea about what type of cost categories and methods that we are using. You can find, of course, more information in the program manual about this. Then also, we cover office and administration cost. And again, this is through a flat rate. So on top of the staff cost, you also get 50% for office and administration. Another important cost category is travel and accommodation, because of course, as I was mentioning, we want our projects to meet, to exchange. In the past 2 years, as you know, with the COVID-19 pandemic, our projects needed to organize the activities mainly online. And we opened that now we are back to the normal, let's say, activities. So this is an important cost category. And also in this case, we apply a flat rate of 50%. Then we also have external expertise and services, because you organize events, so you may need a venue, catering, I don't know, translation cost, but also you may need the support of external expert for a specific service. So this is the category. Then also we have some equipment that can be covered. And finally, this is a new category, which is related only to pilots action, which is about infrastructure and works. But it's really limited to very small scale works related to pilots in this case. So this is all from my side. I thank you a lot for your attention, and I'm available for any question you may have. Thanks.
Thank you, Ilaria. Unfortunately, I had an issue from my end and I lost all the questions that we had in the chat box. I'm sure they're still relevant over there. So if I may ask you to go through them, I'm very sorry about this. I think we had around 3 questions over there.
Yes, I can see the questions. So far, I see 3 questions. So I can go through the main. So the first one is about the role of universities or those organizations that are not, let's say, policy responsible authorities. They are not specifically involved in the policy learning process. If I understand well, this is from Charles. And is asking if it seems that the program is now more interested in public entities only. So, and what is the role of this organization, for instance, like a university? So, as I was mentioning at the beginning, indeed, the main target for us are public authorities, those organizations that they are responsible for the elaboration of policy instruments, specific policy, but of course also university can apply to our program. We had in the previous programming period many cases with university, many projects. So first you need to check the legal status. So if you first of all comply with the requirements that I was mentioning at the beginning, that if you are under one of those categories, public authorities or public bodies governed by public law or private no profit, then you can apply as a university. So first of all, you need to check this, and for any doubt, you need to contact the member states. So in this case, you need to contact our NCP to double check the legal status of your organization. Then from the legal status, we move to the role of this organization in the project. So in principle, ideally, you should, as a university, you should come with the responsible authority of the policy instrument, because you normally a university has a more technical profile, so it's relevant from a thematic point of view. It's sometimes involved also in the policy making process, but is not the owner of the policy instrument. So you will need to first see what would be your role in the project, and you may consider, yes, to bring with you as a partner the policy responsible authority. If they cannot come as a partner, you need to involve them as associated policy authority, and you will need anyway to, as a university, explain what is your role in the policy making process in relation to the policy instrument address select. This is really a section in the application form related to the policy instrument. So I hope I answer the question, and we can see also later, you can also raise your hand later on if you need further information. Second question, it's about investment for jobs and growth policy. Means the creation of new jobs or also an improvement in the quality of existing jobs. I don't know if I understand well the question, but when we talk about investment for jobs and growth goal programs, these are specific programs adopted by the European Commission. So you need to refer to the European Commission regulation. And these are prepared by countries, by every country. There are some at the national level, other they have both national and regional level. And they are prepared by those countries and then approved by the Commission, and they have a time frame of 7 years, which is linked to the programming period. So we are talking about these specific programs that it's they are financed by ERDF or ESF. So you need to look into the European Commission website in case you are not familiar about those programs, but also you can find some example of what I was mentioning also before in my slide. In the case of the Sign for Innovation project, Valletta Cultural Agency, they were working on the operational program of Malta in their project. So you can find some example also there of this type of programs.
Ilaria, from my end, I have the questions back now. So
perfect. Yeah. Yes.
Apologies for that. So, okay. So the next question was from Valeria Patruno, and she's asking, considering the strategy example, regional sustainable development strategy, a policy improvement could be the definition of the strategy itself.
Okay, this is a very good, important question, because indeed, when you start a project, so you prepare the application, you need to select a strategy that is a strategy plan or any type of policy that is already existing. So the project, our project is not about define a new policy instrument, a new strategy, but you need to come with something that is already in place. So when, like what you mentioned, a regional sustainable development strategy could be indeed a policy instrument. And the way you can improve this strategy is, for instance, revising the content of the strategy by, I don't know, thanks to the learning from the project, you decide to add new objectives in the strategy. I don't know, to focus more on energy efficiency initiatives, for instance, that were not foreseen before. So you can revise formally the strategy, the content, or the way the strategy is implemented. So you can add a new evaluation method for in the strategy, or you can finance new activities, new type of projects through the strategy. So these are the kind of improvements that you can implement, but when you select a policy instrument, it's important to come with something that is already in place. Or if it's in a drafting phase, you need to provide enough information in the application form to understand what is about, what are the objectives, how it's implemented.
Okay. If anyone were replying to your questions and you would like to clarify more on it, feel free to raise your hand as we're going along, and we can clarify more on it before we move on to the next question. So our next question is from Suzanne Gauci. Can the publication of guidelines be considered as a policy improvement?
It depends. We would need more information, more background information. If you take it like this, I would say I'm not sure, because maybe, let's say, let's take the example of before. We have a strategy. And within this strategy, you include some guidelines that were not foreseen before. You include those guidelines to, I don't know, better implement certain measures foreseen by the strategy. If we talk about, I don't know, energy efficiency, like a certain scheme that the local authority, the municipality or the region is foreseeing, and you add in the strategy, within the strategy document, within this policy, new guidelines that could help to better implement this strategy. So this could be a type of policy instrument. The publication of guidelines itself it remains too general, so we need to, put this into a context and link to the specific policy that you will work on.
Okay, so another question is clarification. Volunteer organizations would fall under not-for-profit org? Thanks.
Maybe they could fall. This I cannot confirm you, because it depends to every country regulation. So this you need to see within your country, and you need to take the definition for and the requirements when we talk about a no-profit organization. You can see in our program manual there are some references, but it's important to check with the responsible authority in your country to make sure that this type of organization fall under no-profit. But in principle, sometimes they can follow under this, but it depends on the country.
I don't know if maybe Carmel can weigh in at this point on this question, or if maybe we can send the email and then maybe we can address it later on.
Yes, I think it would be ideal if any interested volunteer organizations forward their queries to us, and then we can provide the latest information vis-a-vis the Interreg Europe program. In fact, it is also part of the eligibility checks that our division performs when a volunteer organization is part of an application that is being submitted under a call for proposals.
Okay, perfect. I am adding, I added your email already, and I'll add the one for Interreg Europe shortly. So another question is from Suzanne Ronald. So her question is, UK is out of the question as a partner, but what about as possible as a stakeholder expert?
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, UK is not part of the program area anymore, but indeed you could participate as external expert for a specific support that the partner would need, the project would need. So in this case, as external expert, you need to respect the rules, so the program rules for when having subcontractors, for instance. But this again, you can also find specific information in the program manual. Then in the stakeholder group, as a stakeholder group member, it depends if this is organization, then it's relevant for the policy instrument that the partner is tackling, is working on. So I would see more from the question. I understand it's more about as an external expert, I don't know, supporting the partner organization on thematic content issue or on methodologies or on a specific service. And here we are talking about subcontractors, and indeed it's possible, but you need to follow the European rules for this.
Okay, the next question is regarding eligibility. If a project addresses an EU directive or regulation, I think this was building up on earlier, we're mentioning policy documents.
I'm reading the question. Can travel officer company increase to reflect the component of human resource? It depends. So this voluntary, this I don't know because it's very specific on reporting. So I will need to check with my colleagues on the finance side because it's very specific, and I can get back to them via email.
In
this
this
case,
I think it was Zamit who sent this question.
Okay.
Particularly.
Okay. So
So maybe they can send you an email on
yes,
yes projects at interreg.eu, keeping Carmel Vella also in CC, and you can send this question there and we can address it afterwards.
Perfect.
Thank you. And just the very last one from the comment section is, I assume that if a project addresses an EU directive regulation, it is eligible.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. That brings us to an end from the questions over here. I don't know
if sorry, if I can add also on this, because when we it's indeed is eligible in the sense when we are talking about policies, indeed also regulation, EU directives, these are type of policies, policy instrument, but then we need to see who is the responsible authority of this policy, because if we are talking about EU directive, this is the European Commission, the Parliament, all the European institutions. So this is not, so they cannot, you know, as let's say, as a local municipality or a regional authority from Malta, from any other country, you cannot include an European directive that is managed at European level by the Commission, let's say. So you will need to find the strategy, the law at the national level or local level in your country that is translating those directives.
Okay, perfect. I don't know if there are any questions. If not, we'll move on to Carmen Villa's presentation. Okay, I think we're fine for now. Again, if you have any questions, Ilaria will still be with us and we can go through any more questions later on. Carmel, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Ilaria. So I will be sharing my screen. Okay. So can you see the presentation, please? So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carmel Vella, Maltese National Contact Point for the Interreg Europe program. And through the following presentation, I will be sharing information on the main features of the second call for project proposals related to the Interreg Europe program 2021-2027. So basically, the call for proposals opened on the 15th of March 2023 and will be closing at noon on the 9th of June. While the application pack is already available on the program website, you may wish to visit it through the following link at interregeurope.eu. Regarding the thematic scope of the program, Interreg Europe is structured around one single cross-cutting priority on capacity building, which is themed a better cooperation governance. However, despite this single priority, project partners will need to select the specific objectives from these 6 topics available on this slide in their respective application. Moreover, the program plans to indicatively concentrate around 80% of its budget on the thematic areas, which are covered by a selection of specific objectives. As we will be seeing in the following slides, the largest share of the program budget will be dedicated to proposals related to smart and green objectives, and also half of the objectives falling under the topic More Social Europe. Beginning with the smart objectives, this topic includes 5 different subtopics, which are related to research and innovation and digitization, competitiveness of SMEs, skills, and digital connectivity. On the other hand, the green topic, which is also under the 80% co-financing, is related to energy efficiency and renewable energy, smart energy systems and climate change, access to water and resource efficient economy, nature and biodiversity, and sustainable urban mobility. As explained already, half of the topics falling under the social objectives falls also within the under 80% concentration and are related to the effectiveness and inclusiveness of labor market, equal access to healthcare, and also culture and tourism. On the other hand, the remaining topics, which will fall under the 20% of the program budget, will be available for the topics covered under the 3 remaining policy objectives, which are the social objective, connected, and citizens. In addition to these 5 topics, Interreg Europe can also support non-thematic cooperation on challenges related to administrative management of regional development policies, such as evaluating and monitoring public intervention and management of public procurement, state aid, and financial instruments. Furthermore, projects financed under the Interreg Europe program need to explain the innovative character of the results that they expect to achieve. Before developing a project idea, applicants should consult the program website and browse the projects already supported by the program to check if their topic of interest has already been covered. Moreover, as far as possible, applicants should ensure that their own idea offers added value compared to past or also current initiatives, that is, for projects under the 1420 program and also projects involved in the first call for project proposals. For further information on how the innovative character can be demonstrated, potential applicants may visit section 3.3.4 of the new Interreg Europe program manual. For geographical coverage, as indicated in the terms of reference, and that's explained by Ilaria in the previous presentation, Interreg Europe requires a wide geographical coverage from all applications which will be submitted under the second call for project proposals. Specifically, to be eligible in the second call, applications submitted must ensure that 4 geographical areas indicated in this map are represented in the partnership with at least 1 project partner. In addition, partnerships should also go beyond cross-border and transnational cooperation areas, while a balanced geographical coverage should also be reflected within financial terms. Some lessons learned from the first call for project proposals are to select carefully the policy instrument addressed in each region, to ensure that at least 1 instrument is an investment for growth and jobs goal program, checking carefully the policy responsible authority status of the organization involved in the project, and ensuring that the partnership goes beyond transnational cooperation areas. Like, for instance, the MED program covers Slovenia, Bulgaria, and also part of France. On the other hand, some key points to a successful application are to read carefully the program documents, such as the program manual, to use assistant tools provided by the Joint Secretariat to participate in assistance events, and also to get to know the respective selection process. That was all for features related to the second call for proposals. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Carmel. So far, I cannot see that there are any questions in the chat box. However, Ilaria has added some useful links that were presented in the presentation. That's maybe useful for our attendees if anyone would like to have a look. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat box or raise your hand now. We'll just give a minute or two and then we'll proceed to Ilaria once again. Or actually, no, Carmel, you will be speaking about assistance for applicants, correct?
Yes, we have a short presentation related to the national support provided by the National Contact Point.
Exactly. Okay. I think we can move on, Carmen.
Thank you, Faith. So basically, as National Contact Point for the Interreg Europe program, the territorial cooperation oversees Malta's participation in 5 territorial cooperation programs. Apart from the Interreg Europe program, we also are national contact points for the Interreg Italia-Malta program, Interreg Euromed and Interreg NextMed, and also the Interreg program. As national contact point, we represent Malta in monitoring and point of contact meetings. And moreover, we also put forward Malta's position on program issues and also serve as national approbation body for the respective controllers of project partners. In addition, we also disseminate information related to the program, organize national events, check eligibility of partners, and also provide national specific information related to projects and also project partners. These are my contact details together with our website address, fondi.eu. Here you may find the latest updates regarding the Interreg Europe program and also the other cooperation programs which I mentioned earlier.
Okay. Thank you very much, Carmen.
Thank you, Faith.
I think we can move on to Ilaria, and then if there are any questions, we can address them as we go along.
Yes, I would like now to give you an overview on the main tools available prepared by the program to support you in the preparation of your project application. So again, I'm going to...
I think if Carmel can stop sharing from his end, then Ilaria can start
yes,
sharing.
yes, sure. Yes, so I'm going to share the presentation here. Okay. Yes, so yes, the idea is to give you some tips on the preparation of the project application and to share with you all the assistance tools available. First of all, I think it's very important to check if the program is relevant for you, if the program could be useful, is answering your needs, your challenges. And in this case, so first of all, it's important to ask yourself, okay, this is the program that is for me, and to see if you are involved, for instance, in the regional development policy. If you are looking for some solutions, for ideas, for inspiration, and you are ready, if you're ready to work with the partners from other European countries, so this is indeed the program for you. But to assess, first of all, this relevance, we invite you to use our self-assessment tool. It's really a very short online questionnaire with about 8 questions with a yes, no answer. So it's very easy, it doesn't take a lot of time, but it can help you to guide you to indeed assess the relevance of the program for your needs, for your challenges. So you can find the link, and I can share it also in the chat, where you can find this online questionnaire to ask yourself, okay, if this is the program that is the right program for you. Also, as a second step, it's important to see what kind of activities the program supports. So as I was introducing before, we have 258 projects approved from the previous programming period. This is a source of inspiration for sure for you to understand what the program is about. We also have new projects approved under the first call for the new programming period. So you can see their project website, and you can find inspiration from those examples. And you can also check the project ideas that are available in our website. We have a dedicated section about this. There are also a few ideas from Maltese partner already published, if I'm not mistaken there. So this can help you also to see what are the ideas already existing there, and this can help you also. So you can also publish your project idea to share it with the community, and this can help you to find partners. So it's really a very useful tools to search for partners. And there is an online form. You need, of course, to be registered to our community. And you need to fill in this short form where you present your project ideas, and you indicate what are the partners you are looking for, what type of organization, from which country, for instance. And you can see the example and also discover a bit more in our website. As I was mentioning, this can help you to find partners, but there is also a filter function in our program website where you can filter organizations or members of organization per thematic areas, so according to the topics covered by the program, but also per country and also per type of organization. Also, this is very, very useful according to the feedback received by our community members. So I invite you to visit this page in case you are about to prepare an application or you intend to apply. Then another important tool that I also recommend you is the ask for feedback form. So once you have published your project idea, you can ask specific feedback to the secretariat, to us, by providing additional information on the project idea, such as the type of policy instrument, the partners that you intend to involve, the potential partners, the type of activity. So you will need to fill in this second part of the online form and request the feedback. And you can choose to receive feedback via email, for instance, but also we can set up an online meeting or via phone to discuss your project idea, and this can help you to shape the content of your idea. We can help you to revise it and go in the right direction. So this is also very helpful. There are also other assistance tools. Of course, what I share in the chat is the program manual, which is very important. You need to know by heart the program manual. We always keep the program manual close to our desk. Is really the key document, the reference for you if you intend to apply. There is also the second call terms of reference, where you can see also all the rules related to the call, but there are also some annexes related to the documents to be provided, and the application pack, of course, that I also shared in the chat. We are also organizing some events to support you to prepare your project application. So there will be some webinars very soon, actually, next week. These are online. I invite you to register. Anyway, the recording will be also available in the program website in case you cannot participate, but you can see that these are focused, those 4 webinars. The first one will be on partnership. Then we will have the second webinar on project methodology. Then specifically focus on management, budget, and finances, and the final one on communication. So please do not hesitate to register and participate, and you can also ask your question through the chat or live. And we also have dedicated question and answer sessions online. We normally organize this usually on Fridays. The next one, I think, will be this Friday. Yes, there are already the recording available of the previous ones. And in total, there will be other 3 question answer before the call will be closed. These are also very important. You can ask your question live. So the session is really focused on questions and answering your question live during the session. So normally it's 1 hour, around 1 hour. Then, of course, we also have a FAQ section in our website. You can contact us through an online form. We shared the email in the chat, but also you can use this online form to share, to request us any question you may have. And as Carmel was presenting, we also have a point of contact for every country that is participating in our program. And as I was explaining, the point of contact gives general information on the program and on the call for projects. They organize this kind of events like informative sessions, info days, but also when you are going to, when we talk about implementing the project, they also are very close to the first level controllers and they provide information also on the Maltese control system. So this is just to also summarize the role of the point of contact as was already presented before. And you can find some information regarding Malta in our website, program website, in the country section, and you can see the link in the slide. Thanks a lot. So if you have any question, we are there to answer.
Yes. So far I can't see any questions in the chat box, but we'll, if you have any questions for both Ilaria and Carmel before we pass on to the final section of this info session, feel free to raise your hands or leave any questions there. Okay, seems that we don't have too many questions today. Okay, we have one from Charles Youssef. The exact links for the Malta policy is currently available. Carmel, is this something that maybe can be provided from your end?
Yes, we can provide them later on.
Perfect. All right, any other questions? Okay, so then we'll move on. Again, please feel free to write any questions that you might have to Ilaria and Carmel even as we go along into the next one. So I'll share my screen from now. So as you're already aware, I'm Faith from Servizi Europei Malta, and this is just to give you sort of an overview, specifically for those attendees who may not be aware of who we are. You may know us possibly as ex-MUSAC, I think almost 2 years now since we had the change to Servizi Europei Malta. Our mission is that to serve as a gateway to EU funds in Malta and Gozo. The idea is to make it easier for citizens and organizations to access EU funding. Of course, it is not only limited to citizens and organizations. So I see a lot of attendees today are from ministries and also from universities actually. So our service also extends to that cohort. Our services are free of charge, and our aim is to assist as much as possible. We are committed to inform individuals and organizations about the latest EU funding opportunities. So there are a number of information sessions that we organize, as some of you may already be aware, and also assist in the submission of competitive project applicants and support successful applicants in implementing their projects. So as Ilaria and Carmel presented today, and they also gave you some tips on how best to identify your best project and project idea for Interreg Europe, the second call, we can also assist you with that on the local side. So how can we assist you? Information sessions, as you are aware, training sessions. We offer periodically training sessions, I believe. We also offer them through IPS. So if there are any public officials who would be interested, we have them periodically open. And we also organize one-to-one meetings. So if any of you who are present today wish to contact us, we may set up a meeting one-to-one, and we would discuss your project idea there, and then we will move on to project development. We assist, probably that's what most of us know us about, application writing. So there are 3 ways how we can assist with application writing, and I'll go into that shortly, and also implementation support. This is a relatively new service that we started offering within the past 2 years, where we can assist you after you've submitted your application and you have been successfully approved. We can start guiding you with respect to the implementation. So on the side of project development, of course, there are all the resources that Ilaria and Carmel both presented today, but we can help you a little bit further. So we can assist you with understanding the eligibility criteria even further, even when it comes to, I believe there were a number of questions asked with regards to non-profit, universities, etc. We are in contact with both Ilaria and Carmel, and we can assist, facilitate that communication as well over there. Developing the project idea to be competitive for EU funding. So of course, as we saw, EU funding is rather competitive. So the point is that you come with us with an idea, and we work together to make that idea as competitive as possible. We also support with the structure of the project ideas, needs analysis, aims, objectives, activities, impact, and evaluation. So as you can see, we offer quite a holistic service when it comes to developing your project. And then when it comes to project writing, as I said earlier, we offer tailored approach to to needs of our applicant. So there are 3 ways how we may assist with the project writing. There is vetting with comments. This is where from your end as an entity, you would prepare the application, possibly would have the meeting already on the project development, and then you would decide to write the application from your end. And we would send it to us, and we would vet it and add on the comments that we might have, putting our expertise with EU funding there. And then we have vetting with amendments, where it's the same concept as vetting with comments, but here we amend your application as we go along, and there is vetting with completion. This is when we take you through the process of writing the application from start to finish. So again, this can be tailored. So in the case of ministries, I understand that you might have some capacity already established when it comes to writing applications. So in that case, we can offer you a service that might be better for you with respect to the project writing. This is the project implementation, as I mentioned earlier. So as a start, this is not obligatory. So if you come with us at the beginning, or even if you don't apply with us, or you have projects currently ongoing, If you have projects currently ongoing and you require assistance with implementation, and we can provide you with documents for the organization of implementing EU funding projects, and we can also support you with key phases of project implementation, such as the reporting, and we can also provide guidance throughout the project lifetime for proper implementation of EU-funded projects. So even if you have applied with us before, and or we're helping you for this particular Interreg call, after you have been successfully approved, we can help you with the implementation. But also, if there are other projects which are not related to this call and are related to EU funding, you may not have user assistance before, but we can help you with project implementation there should you need it. And once again, we understand that certain ministries have certain capacities already in place, so we can once again tailor our approach over there. So for anyone who wishes to get in contact with us, you can call us. There is a number over there, and there is our email, info.sem@gov.mt. I can provide it also in the chat box soon. You can also visit our website, sem.gov.mt. Over there, you have the facility either to register your interest in programs that you are interested in, such as today Interreg Europe, or else also to request a meeting. But if you send us an email on info.sem@gov, that would be just as much the same. Or you can visit our offices directly in Republic Street, Valletta. I don't know if there are any questions. I will open the chat box just now, but I'm seeing that these were from Ilaria. Okay, and the other question was addressed already by Carmel, which was with respect to the deadline. And the deadline is noon of the 9th of June, 2023. I don't know if there are any questions with respect to our services or even any other questions that anyone might have. Okay, I will stop sharing from my end. Okay, if there are no more questions, okay, are the services made at charge in such a way that one has to cater for them in the project proposal? No, our services, we are a government entity, so our services are free of charge. So we can provide the assistance, and you do not need to make any part of it in the project proposal. It's completely free of charge. Thank you, Suzanne. I will add our email just now, so feel free to send us an email there. I'm also going to include a short feedback form for anyone who wishes to provide their feedback on this information session today. And as well, if you do not maybe feel comfortable to let us know right now, you can in this form provide us with your contact details, and we will be in touch directly to set up a meeting with you, whether it's either with us or Carmel. We can adjust from there. All right, any questions or any remarks from you, Ilaria or Carmel? Anything you'd wish to add?
If I may start, first of all, thanks a lot again and for the attention to our presentation, for the possibility to talk about the program. Maybe just one suggestion again to make use of the tools that we were presenting on both sides from Servizi Europei, but also from the program, because this can really help you to prepare properly the application. And also to what is important from our side, because when we were assessing during the first call, we noticed some problems in general. We noticed that sometimes was difficult to indicate the right policy responsible organization, to indicate the relevant policy instrument, so to carefully select the policy instrument. So to start first of all from your needs, your challenge, what are the specific challenges that you would like to address and you would like to work on, and then from this you go to select the relevant policy that can help you to solve this challenge, and to also contact the relevant organization that is responsible for this policy, if I can suggest this.
Very good suggestions. I mean, even from our end, we'll definitely use the tools. So even if you come to us, we'll use the tools that are available and we'll continue to build from there. But of course, if you already start from your end and you do these, then we can even further build once you reach out to us. I think there are a couple of questions. I don't know if Carmel can maybe help me on these ones. From Charles Youssef, is it possible to have a list of contacts from the different ministries who are willing to participate in such Interreg projects? And just to continue, I know there's another question, but also, is it possible to have a list of links, the different ministries responsible of the different instruments? Sorry, don't know if maybe you can address that from your end, Carmel.
Yes, for the link for ministries responsible for different instruments, this is already available on the Interreg Europe website, and we can forward it to Charles and to all the potential beneficiaries. And regarding the other questions, we can also organize one-to-one meetings involving also SCM with ministries who are willing to participate in project proposals, and also involve the university and other bodies, public bodies, private, non-profit, public equivalent, who are interested in participating in the call as well.
Perfect. And just to circle back to Quentin's question, no, Servizio Europeo for Malta is not the NCP for Interreg projects. Our service is only related to EU funding specifically, which can be anything. That is where Carmel Vella, who works within the Funds and Program Division at the Ministry for EU Funds, who is the national contact point. So in that case, for specifics, you can contact him. Okay, I see Ilaria added the link for that. Thank you. Okay. I don't know if there are any further questions from anyone. If not, I think we can conclude, unless there is anything else that you wish to add. Okay, so I would like to thank once again Ilaria and Carmel for making the time today, for joining us and giving us these very insightful presentations. And the recording of the session will be online, so anyone who would like to view it again, you have the opportunity to do so. And again, you can use all the contact points that we've included today over here to contact us. Of course, if you didn't catch anything, feel free to send your email to info.summit.gov.mt, and then we will redirect you accordingly. Thank you very much to everyone who participated. Have a nice afternoon.